relationships into two, professional and social. If you notice, on the social side it's going on, and on the professional side it's narrowing down. Okay? Like child, friend, student, and then I become an adult, then a spouse, then a father, then a grandfather. But when I'm a grandfather, I'm still a son, still a friend, still a brother, a husband, and all that. And that side, you only become the senior, and you retire. So there's one place at the top. Now, why is the chart divided into two? If you remember, I told you in the morning when I was introducing me, I said, I am proud to be my wife's husband. I'm proud to be my daughter's father. Because without that, my identity is not complete, neither without this. So we need to acknowledge. Why are we insisting? Maybe your generation is now getting trained into this, but our generation, this wasn't there. It was always considered as only, the profession was the only identity of the individual. So the realization later that both combination of social and personal relationship becomes, why do we work? For stomach and for family, after all. So therefore, if family does not exist, so how do we? Happiness cannot come in. So if a man is not happy, man or woman not happy at home, cannot give his or her best to the office. This is a concept that each one of us will have to understand this. That is why in most of the companies you will notice they have social gatherings of family members. Big companies have started doing it. Social gathering, they invite the wives and the children. There are separate, you see like NTPC or HPCL, IDP. They all have children's program in summer, in Diwali vacations, ladies programs, and our institute is conducting all this basically even for them. So that means the management is realizing that there has to be harmonious relationship. So if my wife is happy, my child is happy, so obviously I will belong to the company. This means the sense of belonging. Now one thing we have to understand, in this area, it is essentially emotion, and that area is not essentially emotional. That is why you will notice from friend it becomes colleague. Colleagues are not necessarily friends. Okay? And when we start working, why colleagues are not necessarily friends? Because it's competition. As a child, that competition is very emotional competition. But when we grow up, it is essentially a commercial competition. So therefore, there is no friendship as such. Very rarely we have noticed that colleagues have become best of friends. Now, because there is lack of emotion there and there is a lot of emotion here, what I suggest we people have been realizing also that we must bring the home to the office, but not vice versa. Never take your office home. What I mean by home to the office is not your members of your family, but the warmth. The way we talk to our people, the way we try to understand people at home, we must understand the office colleagues, subordinates. For some of the companies I was recently going to, it was so amazing that in corporate training we never have more than 20 people. That's normally not more than 18 to 20 people at a time. It was so surprising that I took the training one day, I knew about those 18 people much more than those people who have been working for 7 years together. Some of them didn't even know the surname of the other or the first name. They did not know whether they were married or not. They did not know where do they stay. And I think it's a very sad state because say out of 24 hours, we are almost working 12 hours to 4 hours together. Okay? That means 300 days we are working for so many hours and we don't know each other. We don't know anything other than the name and the qualification or the designation. I think that's the saddest moment that I'm unable to share. And whereas I knew about them because while during training I got introduced. Somebody looks at it and says, what happens? You're not feeling well? No. I said, why? There's nobody at home. You can make out, somebody who's a bachelor, you can actually make out. I mean, at least people of our can make out that who is a bachelor, who is cooking his own food and who is eating in a mess, और घर पे मम्मी खिला के भेजती है, को देख के मालूम पड़ता है. लड़की होता है तो मालूम पड़ता है कि घर से खा के आया है. Okay, these are the things that we can come. So, there what was happening? They were not bringing the warmth to the office, and it's very important therefore to try to understand the relationship, but never bring this here. Do not act as an executive in your house. Because घर पे you are either a father, mother, brother, sister, husband. That's a totally different relationship and evolved like that. We have cases, this is again for you because I hope none of you become like this. I have this counseling marketing manager of one company from Nariman, where I take my offices. His wife is a director in another company. You know, the first question he comes is, I came for counseling, sir. I want to talk to my wife. How do I? Now you tell me, a husband wants to talk to his wife, what I can do about it. So I told him, why don't you divorce? He got very wild. He said, what do you mean divorce? I came to consult you. I said, there is nothing left of your marriage. He says, no, but she's a director of a company. I said, that's exactly. You're perceiving her more as a director and your wife is perceiving you more as a manager. Where is the husband wife is lost in between? मेरे बीवी को मैं मेरे बाहों में बुला ले लेने को उसमें क्या दूसरे पूछने का क्या है? I cannot understand this. But we take our positions very, very seriously. Some of you are likely to do. In spite of me telling all this, you are likely to do. You take your position so damn seriously. I am a marketing manager. And your wife, पता है मैं बाजू मेरे पति जो है ना वो मार्केटिंग मैनेजर है ना मैंने उसको हर चीज बोल नहीं सकती. क्या रिलेशन है? So it's very important that you understand your equation at home. Do not mix the two issues. There's another aspect of it, which is very, very similar to a family life. But since we are all management, we have always to talk about management concept. No? But मैं थोड़ा उल्टा बात करता हूँ. I look at it that every person who joins an office is essentially a new bride. See, when a girl gets married, she comes to the in-laws' house. What does she do? She tries to understand her husband, her father-in-law, mother-in-law, all the members of the in-laws family, and adjust accordingly. Wahi circle of concern. You can reach everybody, others cannot all collectively reach you. So we try to understand the culture of the family, right? And then see to it that the bohu is accepted. She thinks that she is accepted, and then her own individual elements then she adds. When does she add? How is it seen? Can anybody tell me? How is a daughter-in-law who gets married today, subsequently in few years, how her individual elements are seen in the family? Tell me.
She brings up their children.
Yes, when she as a mother. Why? Because if she is married, say she was a Joshi married to a Kulkarni. Okay, now when she gets married to the Kulkarni family, she starts adjusting. So she imbibes the discipline, culture, tradition of Kulkarni family. But when the children are growing up, remember she was an individual and she was a Joshi first. So she also has Joshi tradition, Joshi culture and all that within her. So the child is becoming Kulkarni come Joshi. Both elements, all of us, हमारे सबको मामा का घर का कुछ है and पिताजी का घर का कुछ है. That is the individual element. And the same ordinary funda is for corporate. The moment you join a company, what do you have to do? First, understand the company culture. Each company is different. For instance, Reliance believes in almost 14 hours work. And if you join Reliance, you have to go with that mindset that you can't be tumbling me. I am being paid for 8 hours, I can maximum sit for 10 hours. So you have to adjust the culture accordingly, and then slowly, when you are being accepted, then start adding your elements. That is where comes the individualistic streak of a manager. That here you assert your qualities. It is exactly equivalent to a new. Okay. So when you come there, accept the culture first. Do not try to assert yourself right in the beginning. And another thing you need to know is, we are supposed to be, I believe in my code book I have mentioned that managers are supposed to be democratically autocratic. You understand that? Yes. Manager has to be decisive. If you are not decisive, you cannot be. But then you have to be seen as democratic, that you are taking it. Just like when you rise higher, you need to be very impartial. But you know it is more important to be seen as impartial. Because now I am your faculty. Now if, say, from the morning, if I keep on only looking at him and talking, you will feel obviously neglected. So I have to keep on bari looking at each and every person. That is, I should not look partial. Very important to be seen. So one has to make an effort. What is it that I told you to remind me in the morning? Who remembers? Okay. This is here in the corporate. How to say no? You know, to say no means priorities. You have to choose your priorities at your age. I'm referring to him. Just a case yesterday. He is chief administrator and there are innumerable people working under him, and some of them are at least 20 years older to him, and they are highly qualified people. They are not ordinary people because he's in the central administration. Next to me he is. I mean, everybody contacts him, nobody contacts me. I get to know everything only from him. I don't know otherwise. Okay. Very few. Along with him there are 4 more people that form the main council. Okay. They are in touch with me, others there is nobody, but principally he. Now what basically happens is, now so many people are going to tell you so many things to do. What you have to choose your priority. You have to see which is the first thing, that urgency of the work is the first thing. To say no, no, that is not saying no. When I say how to say no, we all know to say no. But when to say and why to say, that is what we have to understand. And that means you have to know the urgency of the work, the priority of the work. Now if I have to do this particular work now, and if it is not done there, then the fallouts will be very risky or dangerous. So therefore that becomes obviously the priority. The other things could be, but pressure will, as a man, like he is tremendously under pressure. From all corners, like to give you a little thing, ours, you have heard that ours is so many activities we have, performing arts, extracurricular activities, faculties. Now we are having some in December, some 600 to 800 students are going to appear for Gandharva exams. So it's not a joke when 600 people are going to appear, because written separate, practical means it's going to go on for 10 days. Okay, because examiner will spend for each child, artist, for about half an hour. But that apart, in the month of December we will have 25,000 children competition. That apart, our management training. Okay, then like Times Music is one thing, our CDs and cassettes, how to display. Every newspaper is having our articles, so that is being looked after by somebody. Or the Nehru Center program. So there are so many things, and everybody is relating to him. So, what happened? I will give you an example. Because he is only 26. So I cannot expect him to be what I could perceive. Obviously, with experience one will learn. Now, yesterday when we were working, I came back to the office after a lecture, and these people, I think the faculty division people all assembled, because they were supposed to go through the 700 application forms. Scrutinize them, you know how it is to submit it to the university with the necessary previous examination certificates to be attached, photographs, signature, fees barabar, so many things that needs to be recorded. Now they came simultaneously. I think Times we called him up and said, we need this series instantly. Simultaneously, Delhi they called up. I was sharing with Tamanna madam that from Delhi the petroleum ministry called up that on the Hindi Divas we wanted Dr. Guha to come. Could he spare 45 minutes for a lecture to the secretaries of different ministries, and therefore my CV, other things had to go to the, now everything came at the same time. Now say he called everybody at 4 o'clock. What is his priority? Tell me. You tell me. One is, I am asking the question, one is the last date of examination form is coming in is the 1st of August. That's one, and yesterday was 29th. September we have Hindi Divas with the central government. For that they need information. Times Music wants all these things by next week. Which is top priority? Right? Now what happens, since he was bombarded within 15 minutes, so many calls, and out of goodwill, he said, send it to you tomorrow, we'll send it to you tomorrow, we'll send it to you tomorrow. Now it was already past 4. The courier chap will come by 6. Now that by that time, if he has to prepare 6 CDs, so transfer 6 CDs, prepare the letters, He may be having assistance, but he has to check. Because there are so many CDs, that means you have to view the CDs. You know, but which part has to go? Every part cannot go. If a CD that is going to go to time music, what kind of dances they wanted? They wanted classical, or they wanted folk, or they wanted western, or they wanted film, you don't know. In certain CDs that are mixed, so that means you have to isolate. So that requires a lot of time, right? Similarly, what you have to send to Delhi also requires time. Delhi can wait, because it is in September, doesn't matter if it goes on Monday. Similarly, but poor thing, he started doing this, and in the process, these 5 people are waiting, and I landed. So I said, what happened? He said, no, sir, Girish sir is inside. He is. So I called him. And what? No, sir, this one, sir. I said, no. Why did you first of all promise? Why did you tell them? Because I care too much for you. I love you a lot. I cannot see you stressed like this. Every day, if the man is working till 9 o'clock and coming every day at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, how long can it? Won't his efficiency come down? It has to, because a body cannot take more. Mentally, we cannot take more. So I told him, you have to learn to say no with that. You have to tell them, I cannot give it to you. I give it to you day after tomorrow. Then what happened is, I called up. Because now the commitment was me. So when I call up, no sir, that's absolutely already, it can come on Monday. तो पहले आप अगर बोलते, वो भी बोलता है ना, जब मेरे से होगा ही नहीं, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Means what was the error of not prioritizing? You see, because, and here what was the other fallout? There are 6 people that you call, and if you are making them wait for 3 hours, aren't you creating irritation in them? And I'm spoiling my personal relationship. Officially, interpersonal relationship is getting spoiled. So next time you call, then they will come late. They will not come at 4 o'clock. They will say, क्या फायदा? 4 बजे जाने से भी बैठा 5 बजे जाते हैं. So therefore, the discipline of the company also goes. Okay. So here, when I say how to say no means, I have to prioritize what I should be able to do now. Is it that important to do right now? If it can be postponed, not harming. So therefore, whenever you are going to take up a work, also see the following few days. If it can be spread, because we need to be relaxed. Okay. Now, I'm shifting into time management. These are all very quick things, because these are papers which takes 2 days, 3 days, but so, and I'll just point out. It is essentially a mental discipline. That's why we say systematic strategy of common sense strategies. So it is, if you're mentally willing to be disciplined, then only time management can come in, otherwise time management doesn't come in. So there is no point me making a lot of, time management sounds a big funda, but what is time management of time? Simple. The 24 hours, 20 hours में मेरे को ये करना है, 6 घंटा सोने का है, 2 घंटा बाथरूम में बैठने का है, ये करने का, वो करने का. That's it. So I'm supposed to. That's as simple as a time management thing. But only thing is, we like to use big words, think big, and therefore do nothing. So come down to the ordinary things, and to do that, therefore, what are the points? Some of the points I'm giving you. One thing in time management is your target, that is goal setting. But before that, you need to know yourself. What are your priorities? Without knowing that, you can never have time management. So the number 1 is goal setting. So you get targeted. As I said, when you say goal setting, that is what I have to achieve. But after that, you have is prime time. What is prime time? The first thing to be done, and the key time, that is the most important time. On the personal side, in the morning, there's prime time and sequence. What do you do when you get up in the morning? Brush?
Yeah.
Then potty? Then bath? Dressing up? But कभी-कभी prime time उल्टा हो जाता है, brush के पहले potty हो जाता है. So prime time also changes. As per me. And we have to understand this. I'm purposely talking these light things because we have a tendency to look at everything very tera karke, and which we don't understand anything. So it is better to accept straight facts, and that's it, and adopt it. Okay? Then planning, listing priorities and time slot. What is listing? Do any of you list? Is there anybody who's got the habit of listing? You must always carry a paper and a pen with you. Any thoughts also come with this stuff. You will notice that you are becoming a better manager. Did you see that I have a pouch with me? Okay? In that pouch I always have a paper and pen. Even when I am traveling by air or wherever, any thoughts come that I have to speak to my wife and daughter also right now. Because see, when I come for very few days, very few moments I am at home. Suppose if I forget to speak those important things, there could be a lot of garbage at home also. And this, it's my life, so I have to attune myself to my requirements, right? What may be alright for you may not be alright for me, what may be alright for you may not be alright for you. Because your lifestyle is different, my lifestyle is different. So as per your need you have to. So listing is a very, olden times the ladies आंचल में गांठ बांध देते थे. उसको देखूंगी तो याद आएगा, लेकिन उसको देखने को भूल जाती थी. So you may prepare a list, but you need to refer the list. List means just anything that is coming, jot down, and as soon as you have done it, tick mark that I have already addressed that. I am teaching all of them this kind of things. I said everywhere keep in, because specifically when we have to do multiple things. Today's Aajki need is no longer master of one. Today's need is be jack of all trades and be master of one. When we are young, we were saying never become a jack of all trades, be a master of one. About 2 years back, Asian Age wrote an article on me, and I think they had actually given the title as Dr. Guha believes be jack of all trades and master of one. That was the title. It was almost more than a half-page article. But that's so important today that we have to have this attitude of able to do too many things, but to able to do too many things we have to have priority as well as time slot, that within this time frame I should be able to finish that particular work. Then delegation of work. Share your work alright, but give the job to a right person. Give it to a wrong person and then keep screaming, that doesn't help. Check on. And the deadline, you have to again have that within this, as I said, the time frame has to be there. Just now if you say, I am running against the deadline, मेरे को 5 बजे तक खत्म करना है, कुछ भी करके, कैसा भी करके. So that's what it is. Then use of waiting and traveling time. Why are we mostly late? That is of course, हमारे भारतीय लोगों का ये नेचर में है, सब जगह में लेट पहुंचो तो इज्जत ज़्यादा रहता है. But we have to see that there is a commuting time. We never calculate that normally, and therefore get stuck in the traffic or anywhere else. Then communication, as I said, if you are effectively communicating, then obviously you are saving time. Because what I said, if that person doesn't understand, then that doesn't work. Then creating more time, getting up early and dropping unnecessary tasks, these are the other things. You should not only do more work, but have a well-timed work, and 24 hours is a long, long time. The more work we do, the more time we have.